That's why I had the balls to show up at that audition with a 6-pack of beer and actually be both. I offered the producers of PBR.
You had a Cadillac for sale, did you not? Or did you post it? What do you?
Hey,
you're
man.
the caddy guy.
If you're not hustling, you're sleeping. So this wasn't it. This was not the Cadillac for sale.
Yeah.
This is the caddy from season 1. Season 1, episode 6, Triple Black Cadillac.
Is that a 3? What year is that?
4. 6. Well, how would you know? Ooh, that's just the other day when I picked it up.
That's badass. Those wheels are kick-ass too.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I'm going to fall in love all over again looking at these pictures.
Let's go for a ride, Shag.
You clearly had too much blood in your alcohol system.
Listen, I didn't say I stopped drinking on Sunday. I'm just telling you that I'm still hungover from those days.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
My ass is dragging.
Because it was like Kyle Busch had just crashed in Daytona earlier that year, and he got in the grass, and he broke bones and all that, and they kept him out of the car for a long period of time. And I did not want to get in the grass and do that tumble thing. So I'm thinking, yeah, okay, stay on the track. And then I hit, right? And then that 108G hit, and it hit so freaking hard. I'm like, maybe I should have landed in the grass.
And
I turned around and I said, "You just missed 10 grand." He goes, "Why?" And I said, "Because that was me being a dick."
No fucking way. No way.
As you can imagine, there's no situation in the world where somebody thinks Lou was too loud.
Yeah.
I can hear you laugh from here, not through the screen, but from.
That's true. That is true. Hold on for a sec. Do you think we should explain these hats or no? Just keep on going?
Just keep on going. Just keep on going. No, pick it up when we bring on our guest.
And I left there feeling like a bag of dicks. I was like, I bombed. I called my mom in tears. I'm like, Mom, I fucked it up. It was so bad. And it was great. So,
Lou, did she just say a bag of dicks?
Yes, she did.
Been with my wife since 94. Met her in 94, got married in 97. Lou, when we met, she said, "Don't even talk about sex until we get married." After we were married, she said, "You can talk about it all you want." So, it ain't happening. I'll tell you, I got it rough. I'll tell you. Do you have any crazy monster on set stories?
When Fred Wynn drove the car off the set onto Lancashire Boulevard down to Cahuenga and made a little joyride, and they told him, "Don't do this." And you tell Fred not to do something, you're just asking for trouble.
I think there was like probably 30 or 40 extras, on set that day. And when they started asking, who here can drive a 6-shift? This is like 30 or 40 extras. None of them could.
What?
And it's like, then the directors, why'd you bring these cars with clutch pedals? It's like, well, that's the only way these old Land Cruisers came. There was no automatic. So anyways, we had to test a couple of my mechanics as terrorists and put them in the cars to... So
it's cool. It's got this
different strokes.
But you start getting dizzy.
There you go. Kane's got to throw that up. He's breaking my balls ever since we got
Look at that guy. Look at that librarian.
Man, we could talk for weeks about this stuff.
everybody, Lou Santiago. And tonight, I'm coming from you in my bed. That's where I'm at. My back is so fouled up, I'm actually sitting in bed. So that's where I'm at. Now, we've had a couple of hiccups. Joe and Amanda, they're at SEMA, right? So they have commitments. The network always has you doing stuff there. And I want to say tonight, usually on Wednesday, is the party that the network has. So they're not going to be coming on. And we thought we had another guest lined up, but we still haven't heard from him. He said he was going to be here, but he has not. If he shows up, we'll bring him in. But right now, what we're going to do is we're going to just, me and John are going to chew the fat. If someone wants to throw a question up that wherever we can see it, we will answer it. We're just going to do what we got to do because we are committed to you guys and we are committed to trying to give everybody the best show possible. So tonight, we're just going straight out of the box and winging it. So Ken, do the commercial.
What you need to do is check out DEI, Design Engineering Incorporated. They keep the heat out so you're not sweating to death. Check them out.
Dude! I am not an animal.
You're getting old, mother.
Dude, it's crazy, man. I went to my chiropractor and we looked at the MRI film.
Yeah.
And he looks at it and he goes, I can't help you. I'm like, oh, God. That's all.
Yeah,
like,
usually they want to try something for him to say, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
You're messed up.
He's got one of those crazy traction tables where they put this like belt around your waist and the table separates and pulls you apart.
Yeah.
What about the crazy traction table? He goes, no. He said, you're a mess.
You're worn out.
Yeah, I got all the vertebrae in the lumbar, all 5. There's one. The first L1 is bulged a little, and they said it's not enough to qualify as a bulge. And then I think it's 2 is bulged, 3 is herniated, 4 is bulged, 5 is herniated. So I got an appointment with a surgeon on the 10th of November. So, and
next Wednesday.
Yeah, and the tunnel that your nerves run through, it's overgrown and it's pinching the nerves. So I get 0 relief. That's where I'm at. So I mean, I'm just hanging out. I don't know what else to do.
I wanted to back up. You were saying that Joe and Amanda were at SEMA. They got their shooting schedule the other day, and today's a shooting day.
Oh, is that what it was?
They're shooting, 6.
Oh,
the 6th season. So it's they got the approval, I think, a month ago or so. So they're shooting. They're not at SEMA.
So they're not shooting and their backs up against the wall because they're probably going to premiere in January.
Probably.
Because I think that's when they premiere.
Now, I heard from a couple people been watching SEMA stuff. It looks like it's pretty scarce. I talked.
I know Chip brought a bunch of cars in.
Yeah.
And the space between them is it's a country mile. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's got a whole section. Ed called me.
Yeah.
And he called me this morning. We were talking, and he said that you could put 100 booths in the area where they got Chip's cars. And I'm like, yeah, they got to spread it out. He goes, some of the sections, like the center hall, they don't even have much in there.
Yeah.
They got a couple things, he said, at the new section, right in the middle there, up front where the Barrett Jackson auction was.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you know what? It's still SEMA.
Yeah.
It's like pizza, like I was saying. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, some of the pictures are pretty cool. Like Courtney hit me up. I tagged her. She was dealing with somebody. And I said, yo, that dude seems like he's drunk. And it's 11 o'clock there. I don't want to name names, but she said, oh, yeah, he's drunk.
God.
So they're partying and being stupid out there. So it's Vegas, you know?
Yeah, it's Vegas. Yeah. So,
But yeah.
let me. I got a question here. How did you get into the car industry after the Navy? And I do not know how to say his name, so I'm just going to call him Farms.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was always into cars. Always messing with them. When I was in the Navy, I was a CB, and I was working on heavy equipment. I got into TV. It was a total fluke. That's how it happened. And I'm actually in Kannapolis there, Stephen. Yeah. So that's where we're at. Uh-oh, here she comes, my granddaughter. She just barged in. She's rocking the onesie.
But yeah, the guest that was supposed to hit us up, and I don't know if he's running late or what. I have not heard back from Chin. Chin's story. There you go. She definitely doesn't take after you, Lou.
Nope.
That's a cute baby.
None of my kids take after me. None of my grandkids will take after me.
Yeah.
None of them are darkies.
Yeah, she's looking at herself on the camera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, what am I gonna do? Her name's Allie Mae. Hello, Allie Mae. Yes, it's you. Yes.
Hello. Can you hear me? Allie Mae.
All right, say bye-bye.
Bye. Love you guys.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
But the Chin story was pretty cool. I'll tell you how it all came about. I was watching Vice on Sunday or Monday. I think it was Monday night.
Right.
And they had teenage felons. And Chin was one of the guys that was on the series going to jail when he was a kid. And his story to turn around from, what happened to him to where he is today is just crazy, impossible. But I watched it and I thought to myself, it'd be good to have this guy on the show because it's definitely a roller coaster ride of a life.
Yeah.
But the short story long, I don't know if he's coming on or what. I want to blow the whole thing because maybe he's running late. Short story long, what it was is he was a barber. He had a buddy that got him into being a barber. And his mom, who was a school teacher, basically said, no, you're going to college. You could be a barber, but you got to have a degree.
Right.
So he's cutting hair. And he says this one guy was always on the phone every time that he was cutting his hair, nonstop phone ringing. So he finally asked the guy, he says, yeah, what do you do for a living? And he says, to be honest with you, he goes, I'm a drug dealer. He goes, oh, he says, do you know what these guys are paying for a key in the area? And he says, no. He goes, but they come in. He goes, I can ask them. The barbershop it's a corner store. Everybody runs through there.
Yeah, it has the barbershop has its finger on the pulse of the community.
So he asked the guy, he says, yo, what are you paying? And I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was like 26,000. And the guy with the first guy says he can get it for 17, I think it was, or something like that. So Chin decides to broker the deal, makes 20 grand in like 20 minutes. Of course, at that point, he's hooked.
God.
And from there, it's, money, crazy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Things got worse, ramped up. The story gets even nuttier. But the fact that his stepdad's a preacher and his mom was a school teacher, he's basically, took a left turn.
Yeah.
But I'm watching a show and I'm thinking, we're all at that point somewhere in life where you go, I'm going to fork in a road. I go this way, go that way, but it changes everything.
Right.
Well, this guy Chin, there was a couple in his life that pivoted, that could have went the other way.
Yeah.
And it worked out for him. He really got lucky.
Yeah.
So I got a hold of him and said, yo, can you do it? This was just the other day. He said, yeah. So I don't know if something else came up. He didn't hit me up. I texted him twice. So not sure what was doing, but it's, if you get a chance to watch the full story on Vice, it's teenage felons. They were running about 3 of them.
You know what? Jim brought up a good point.
Huh.
They're on Central Time. Did you tell him that it was East Coast time?
No, I told him.
Okay.
Plus I texted him.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah, he's in Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah, which is Central. He's an hour behind us. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I told him it was East Coast, and I told him that I hit him up with the text and gave him a heads up about a half hour beforehand.
Got you.
So if he was running late, he would text back. I think something happened. Who knows what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So spent last week in Nashville.
So that's Jim, my friend who drives the truck.
Yeah.
I should have him come on. He's ugly. So it's just one of those things, He's ugly.
Yeah.
And Kevin Warner said SEMA is definitely different this year. Yep.
Yeah.
And let me last time I saw you. Oh yeah. Well, I'm back at the house, Kip. I'm back at the house. I got all the cars here. And as soon as my back whatever gets fixed, I'll do whatever we got to do. I'll get back on it. That's about it. Yeah. That's where we're at. So what else? So dude, so what's going on? Have you heard what's happening with Jersey's election? Just out of
Jersey, last I heard, just before I jumped on, they were the local news was declaring the Democrat the winner. And it's close like 1,200 or 1,400 votes. And both of them last night said, we're not going to concede until all the votes are counted. And then I looked, and it was either 90 or 98% of the votes were counted. That being the case, it's still, to me, is too close. You have to count them all and wait till 100%'s in.
Right.
They said that they're waiting for the mail-in ballots, and they said that that's probably all Democrats, which may be true. I'm surprised it's as close as it was. I got the local commercials. The guy, Jack, the Republican, he seems like a no-nonsense, almost like a former cop demeanor. I don't know what his past is. I didn't check it out. But he looks like a guy that means business.
Right.
I don't know. I think it depends on where you are in the state as to, who they like.
Pinball said rigged as usual.
Yeah, well, that did happen at 6 o'clock in the morning. It went from one to the other. They found 1,500 votes at 6 or 5 o'clock in the morning this morning. I'm like, yeah, go figure. I went to bed last night and the Republican was winning. But a guy made a good point today. He said, listen, even with Virginia, as close as it is, because that's another race that's just as close. And there's Democrats saying, you know what, we should win. We demand a recount. You know what? Audit them both. Recount them both.
Yeah.
Because people really need to know that their vote counts.
Well, and not only that, they need to prove to the people that it's not rigged.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because all these antics that have come up, and then there's a guy in the Jersey State Senate. Jim sent me the link to the article. This guy in the Jersey ran for the Jersey State Senate, and he beat the incumbent, who was a Democrat, who was the head guy of the Jersey Senate.
I saw that.
And he's a truck driver.
Yeah.
And he raised like $16,000, and he only spent like $100 buying donuts and coffee.
$153. The other guy spent $1 million, and he beat him.
Yeah, and he beat him.
What's that tell you? That tells you the people are sick of the Democrats in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, there's
wherever he's at. Like I said, it's different all over the state. It's a big state.
Yeah, Jersey.
You're in Newark, it's one thing. Atlantic City, it's another. You're central or on the East Coast, it's a mix.
Right.
It really is.
It's crazy. It's just nuts. Boston got pinched not delivering ballots. That's the first time I've heard of that one. Not delivering ballots.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Doesn't mean they weren't turned in. They just weren't delivered.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh God. I'm telling you, man, you need to run. I need to run.
After this podcast, and I'm pulling clips from here.
Congressman John, it would be out of control.
Lou, they pull segments of this podcast where we're talking about a bag of dicks, and it'd be the death of us. People go, we can't vote for these guys.
Yeah, they can.
Where I'm going, I
guarantee you, if we ran for Congress, everybody that's in that chat room right now posting stuff, Buzz, Pinball, Kevin, Brennan, Farms, Jim, they would all vote for us.
Yeah, so
they would get their friends and families to vote for us because they would know, okay? They would know the press conferences would be out of control. I mean, dude, because it would be one of those things where nobody knows what you're going to say and shit would just come out. It would be out of control.
Yeah. Yeah, what you see is what you get. Bam.
See, my thing is, I already know what I'm going to do when because something from my past will come out and they'll say, oh, you need to apologize.
Yeah.
You did this and you did that, and I'm gonna look at my no watch. Time.
Yeah.
The window for apologizing has since closed, so
Done.
no, I'm not.
Yeah. Right. They'd still flip it over on you. But you know what? I it's a good sign that people are waking up, especially with the issues with the school, because that was a big deal in Virginia.
Yep.
The Democrat said that he didn't think the parents should be telling the school district what to teach their kids. And that to me is just asinine.
Yeah.
It's just
crazy.
I was talking to a guy in Florida today, and he said he had to go have a meeting with his daughter's school teacher. And he goes, listen, to be frank, he goes, I'm Irish. I'm from Tennessee. He says, but my daughter's mom, he said, she's from Honduras. He said, my kid came home one day and it started telling me that white people are bad. He goes, where'd you get this from? He says, school. He says, he said to her, do you understand that I'm a white person? Like you're telling me that I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
And she was convinced that, I think she said 9 or 10 years old. He says, I don't know where this is coming from, but I can't have my kid prejudge people and think that everybody's the same, no matter what color you are. And I was like, you're right. And he was a little fired up. I mean, it was business. It ain't like I know the guy, we're friends. I was talking to him, just, walking things through as to try to get shit done. But it was sort of a weird conversation. And I told him, I said, I don't agree with this pre-K nonsense they're pushing. I think it's great. But to me, they're actually trying to get their hands on your kid's brain sooner.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly.
The fact that you can go to work and have daycare paid for, basically, yeah, I get it. But if they're going to push this whole theory and all this nonsense on your kid when they're 3 and 5 years old, no thanks.
They have no business doing it. None.
They have no business doing it. Not at all.
It's wrong because, my thing is when you stop and think about it, I'm not, I'm a guy. I don't care what color you are. Everybody gets a fair break. You screw me over, then I figure out what the next move in. But that's what I wait for. You know what I mean? If you don't screw me over, we get along fantastic. But the thing is what they're doing with this CRT is they are literally saying, oh, white people are bad, even though they never had slaves, because someone in their family had slaves, they're bad. How do you get like that lady that professor from Rutgers? We need to try and get her on so she can explain her point. That was just crazy. That lady, that professor from Rutgers, she's a racist.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. She's a racist. Hitler Youth Camps 2.0.
And the weird thing is they flip it around on you like you're the problem.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, the zero tolerance. Like you agree with me or else. That to me drives me crazy too. You can't have your own opinion, your own thought.
Yeah.
Which is asinine.
Well, and if that falls in line with what's going on now with like the whole "Let's Go Brandon" thing. When you think about it, you got people saying "Let's go Brandon," but when Trump won, and for the entire 4 years, it was "fuck Trump."
Yeah.
No one said nothing about that. Every chance they got, they were bashing him. Now because people are saying "Let's go Brandon," they're saying, "Oh, that's the equivalent to the code words that the KKK would use." It's like. And Pinball's right. It's divide and conquer. It's
and it's working. It's definitely working.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's sad. It's sad.
I told you before that my neighbor's kid, and when I say kid, he's not like he's 20, he's 46 or some years old. And, he would hang out, come down, use my tools, be in my garage, that type of thing. That's good. The door's open, whatever you need to do. So he was hanging out a whole lot. 4th of July, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I guess now, I had a canopy put up And the sun comes through on the one side of my yard. So I put an American flag as a shade on the canopy so it wouldn't blare you, 4th of July. It's like 100 degrees. Next to the American flag, I needed something similar. I had a Trump flag. I put that Trump banner. I put that next to it. Well, this was my family. My family don't care what I do, nor do I care what they do.
And it's in your backyard.
It's in my backyard. And even if it's in my front yard, who cares? But he comes down, he gets a little mad at me because, he lives in New York. He travels down here and he's like, Trump, I can't believe. And I said to him, listen, it's my house. This is, this. Don't even go into politics because it's not going to go well. And he starts to tell me he's a bad guy. He's this. He went on and on and on a tangent. I let him go because I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to. This is going to end this. This is going to be a problem. So he's going on about, he can't trust him, can't this. He's repeating all the things you see on TV.
Yeah.
So I stopped him and I said, listen, I hear your opinion, but I don't hear any facts. Tell me the facts that support exactly what you just said. If I can't trust him, why can't I trust him? If he's a bad guy, tell me why he's a bad guy. A bad guy's an opinion. It goes anywhere. Yeah. So he started to tell me because his family is Indian. His parents came from India. He said his mother and father came here with $400 and 4 suitcases. His dad's a cardiologist. So the guy makes big money, right? I mean, he's doing well. So I couldn't understand where he was being held back. The guy's a success here in the United States.
Right.
So he says, you don't know what it's like to be pulled over driving while brown.
Yeah, I do.
And I said to him, listen, I think there's stereotypes with most people, most nationalities. There's a stereotype. I said, and for you to be pulled over, you're thinking they're automatically assuming. He tells me the story. Well, his license plate was out of date. The insurance card didn't match the plate. He was all, they got him on a couple things. That's why they pulled him over, because the sticker on his plate was out. So it isn't like they just pulled him over. They're like, listen, dude, prove, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
So he says, no, they were racist. The cop was a racist. Took his card. It took like $300 or $400 to get it back out. He was pissed. So I'm listening to him. I'm like, okay, all right. So he says, you don't know what it's like. I said, dude, I'm an Italian guy. I said, do you know what it's like? Throughout my entire life, all Italians are in the mafia. I said, you know how many times I got asked, do you walk down and get your newspaper in a white robe? No. I hear it. I let it go. It just I said, listen, did you know that all Irish people are drunks? He looks at me. I said, oh, yeah. I said, Polish people are stupid. Jewish people are cheap. I said, do you think you're the only person that has obstacles, stereotypes? A stereotype is not being a racist.
See, you know what you should have said? You know what you should have said when you were saying that? You should have said, but you know what? I know for a fact that all Indians own 7-Elevens.
Oh, Joe Biden said that. He hated Joe Biden for that. And I said to him, I said, yo, who are you going to vote for then?
Yeah, no kidding.
He said, my mom got a picture of her. She was with Joe. Joe Biden lives 10 minutes from my house.
I know.
And she had a picture of together. And he says, you got to take that down, Mom, because of the 7-Eleven things that he said. He didn't like it. And I'm like, dude. So I said to him, I said, I'm going to prove that you think the same way most other people do. He goes, how? I said, pick any city in the country. Pick any. Don't even tell me what it is. He says, yeah. I said, you got one? He said, yeah. I said, now, it's midnight.
Dude, you see what Brendan put down? Wait, you're Italian and not in the mob?
Right?
That was good. That's good. That's a t-shirt.
I'd wear it. Get them made. I'll buy one. $29.95. So I told him to pick a city. I said, it's midnight. He goes, yeah. I said, you know the area you should not go into at midnight in that city? I said, you see it? He goes, I see it. I said, what nationality are those people? I said, are they Irish? Are they Japanese? Are they Italian? What do they look like? And I pushed him. He said, they're black. I said, you're racist. That's what makes you say that. And he was just like, I said, dude, everybody has the self-preservation. Everybody has their pre-notions. They all think like, this is what this is because of TV, movies. And yeah, granted, there's probably higher crime in some of those areas. That just, don't do that again. Somebody steals from you, you don't do it twice. Somebody hurts you, you don't go back for a second beating.
Right.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Oh, but he was pissed. He was. It's been 2 years. I haven't talked to him.
He'll get over it.
I don't know. I don't think he is because he can't take it. And he kept getting mad at me because I said, "You're still telling me your opinion. You're not supporting the things with facts. I'll deal with facts all day long. I can't deal with your opinion." So
I'm Irish and drunk.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody, when we were kids, had Archie Bunker pushed that to the limit. We laughed about it. Klinger wore a dress. We laughed because he was trying to get out of the military. It was a joke. We laughed at it. Nowadays, oh my God, him, she, her, proper. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with people?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this is going way over the top. Your feelings get hurt because I go, yo, dude. Oh, I'm not a dude.
I think the bigger problem, the problem that it creates is that now you got these kids, they don't have thick skin.
No.
You know what I mean? So now they don't know how to deal with life. I mean, and even today I get called spick, dago, wop. I don't know why a lot of people down here think I'm Italian. and I don't care.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter to me. So what you have is you get and I see them at the school. These, you say something that they don't like. It doesn't even have to be derogatory. And why do you have to talk to me like that? It's like, what did I say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. It blows me away because I'm trying to, not curse a lot because I just am.
Yeah.
But when you drop an F-bomb occasionally, they look at you like you just shot their dog.
Yeah.
And it's because they're a bunch of candy asses.
Did you see Joe Rogan's post today, the black and white photo? You follow him on Instagram?
No, I don't.
He had a picture of a kid on a big wheel, black and white photo, holding a BB gun. And he says, "This was America before all the wimps took over," or some shit like that.
I'm gonna go find it right now. Find it right now.
What's my pronouns? Who's doing that? Ken? You got Ken? I'm he, him, Ken. Sensitive flower.
Delicate flower.
Yeah.
I'm a delicate flower.
Yeah.
I'm a delicate flower.
Yeah.
I just followed him. He's got 13 million people following, John. What are we doing wrong? Oh,
he's been in the game for 15 years. Joe
That's
Rogan's
awesome.
Did you see it? Hold it up. Hold it up so other people can see it. Yeah, kid on a big wheel. America before all the sissies took out. That's what he does. Yeah, I'm like, you know what? I remember having a big wheel. You could not get me off my big wheel when I was a kid. I was that dude. That's why I laughed, because we're close in age. He's about 54 years old. Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's exactly the same thing. But yeah, America's got to get a little tougher, because I tell you what, if we were to go to war, I think most anybody, even if it's a country of 100,000 people, probably throw us a pretty good beating, especially with this whole vaccine and people, bailing out.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody's going to jump in. It ain't like it was World War II, where people would lie about their age just to get into the military. Now people would be running all over going, I'm not doing it. With the benefits of freedom, but you're not going to get me to do it.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. That's exactly it. They want all the benefits, but they don't want to put in the hard work. That's the problem. That's what's so screwed up about it, man. It's sad. It's sad, but that's where we're going.
Yeah.
And I really think at the end of the day, we're going to fall a lot further than what we think, because every empire falls. Every empire falls. It's that simple. Yeah,
but this one's from inside. That's the sad part. You can see, when things don't make sense and you're asking yourself, why is Joe Biden asking Russia and OPEC to produce oil and bring the prices down when he cuts the pipeline off, makes it harder.
Yeah.
And the leases for drilling. And I'm just like, dude, why are you making us dependent on foreign countries? They're not our friends.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? I just don't understand it.
Well, look at the United Nations. The United Nations is always bashing us, and we give them like $1 billion, $2 billion a year to run that operation, and nobody else pays as much as us. You know, like
No.
the amount of money we give to the United Nations is more than 3 or 4 other countries combined, maybe even more than that. It's insane, but yet they sit there and bash. They bash us. They bash us all the time. Say that we're screwed up. Why don't we just stop giving everybody everything and see what happens? You know, it's just, it makes no sense. One day the SEMA convention was trying to push, man. Oh yeah, Kevin is saying one day this day one of the at the convention center, SEMA was trying to push the mask mandate, but all the people from the car community that don't want to bow down and comply. Day 2, the staff had all but given up. Yeah.
And I don't think they understand. A lot of car guys. Listen, I go back to the days you're washing your hands with acetone.
Right.
So, I mean, and you didn't know nothing, did gasoline.
Right.
You clean your parts with gas.
Yeah.
You know, you brush the stuff off, wash your hands and eat a sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
So what with my kidneys and everything else? You would just push through it.
Yeah.
You know, I've done, body work with dust masks on, and right around here, it all comes in and you're like, I stopped about 80% of it. I'm good. You know, even with the metal clip all the way down, you stick cotton in here, try to slow it down. Guess what? It's making it into your lungs.
Yeah.
You know, and this thing's going to kill me. Yeah, maybe it will, but I should determine that. You know, and the thing is, if that vaccine worked one shot and done, all right, and you never got it again, guaranteed. Okay, maybe. All I'd want to know is what else does it do, which they're not telling you. They don't have long-term side effects. I see them shooting these 5-year-old kids. It makes me sick. I'm thinking to myself, they're at least risk of anybody. And if you look, Joe Biden's taking his 3rd shot, according to the press. I think I said this the other day. This vaccine hasn't been out but a year. They announced it right after the election last year. So we're coming up on a year that they announced that they had a vaccine. They didn't start dishing this thing out until January of this year. So if Joe Biden's taking it 3 times, is he getting this thing every 3 or 4 months? And how long is that going to go on for? And what is that going to do to you? Because something's going to fall off you. You can't keep shooting that shit into you and go, I'm good. One shot and done? Yeah, okay. But to take that shit over and over and over every 3-4 months, and I don't believe he got it. I don't think he's gotten a shot. I think that's all horse shit. Somebody posted a picture of him standing next to a Corvette, and he had a eagle or some tattoo on his arm. Then they showed the arm that he got the vaccine in. There was no tattoo.
Really?
So they're like, is this, something ain't right about it, they said. And I'm like, you don't know what to believe on the internet, but, it's pretty crazy either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So
it doesn't make any sense, because what's going on, sensible people wouldn't do. You know what I mean? If you have any kind of common sense, you wouldn't do a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. You would think about it and ask for a reason, and not even get mad about it, but just like, okay, you need to explain to me why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And they can't give you an explanation. So that just tells me that what they're doing is legitimately wrong.
Yeah, they're paid for, or they can't tell you, look, I'm at a fork in the road. If we go this way, this is going to happen. If we go this way, this is going to happen. But I think this is the lesser of 2 evils, and here's why, we're going to do it. They're not taking the time. It's just like, here's 3/4 of what we're doing. The rest of it, I got to keep behind the curtain,
right?
Because somebody's getting taken care of.
Yeah,
I saw a clip online the other day, which I didn't check to see if it was real, but I believe it. They said Buffett's lifetime return is like 18% or something over all his years. Then they had Elon Musk over the past 5, and his return on investments was, I don't know, same thing, 22%.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had Nancy Pelosi's. Of course, she does everything through her husband. She doesn't actually touch it. She whispers to him what's going on. Her return over time was 69%. And everybody was like, how's that possible? she's in Congress and outperforming the best of the best because of insider trading. Who makes the laws on insider trading? She does. Why is it legal? Because she's allowed to do it.
Yeah.
She'd go to jail for the same things that Martha Stewart did.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just crazy that that's even possible. Obamacare, you get it. They don't get it. The vaccine, you got to have it. They're exempt.
Yeah.
It's like having a king that goes, yeah, it's for you. It's not for me. You know, same with the mask. How many politicians been caught outside with no mask? And they're going, yeah, you have to have it, not me.
Yeah.
You know, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, have you heard about that whole thing that it was last week where they said that Fauci was funding gain of what is it? Gain of function research, and they were killing beagles.
Yeah.
Have you heard that one?
No, I know they were doing that though.
I haven't looked into it yet, but supposedly they were doing this research, and I don't understand what research it was because no one really I haven't figured it all out yet. Supposedly they were raising beagles, and once they got like a year old, they would drug them up really bad, and then they would put their head in like a nylon.
It was in a cage. It was in a cage.
Well, the picture that I saw was like a nylon box.
Okay.
Because it was white, and you could tell it was nylon, and the dog's head was in it.
Yeah.
And they had sand fleas eating the dogs alive.
Yeah, and they also cut the vocal cords
because
the dogs,
because the dogs were in pain.
Yeah.
And the people in the lab got tired of hearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to do some more research on it. I don't know the whole story yet.
Fauci was behind that and funding that. It's for the good of the world.
And that was the thing. That's the thing that Rand Paul kept saying was that he was funding it.
Yeah.
Gain of function. That's what it is. Gain of function, and that we're not supposed to be funding it. And Fauci kept saying we're not doing it. And then these pictures come out, and this story comes out. So who do you believe? You know
who you believe. When we were kids, you were always taught, you're sworn in, you better tell the truth.
Yeah.
And you thought there's consequences because it was beat in your head. You pledge allegiance to the United States. It was beat in your head.
Yeah.
Nowadays, when you're in front of these people and you go, guess what? It's this, it's that. I'm over here. It says, and you lie your ass off. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Not one of these, nobody. You lie to the FBI about something you're unsure of. Guess what? You're in trouble. They lie to you to get it out of you. Oh, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
But these people in front of the Senate, Congress, and everybody else talking shit, nothing happens. That's what I'm saying. It's a double standard.
Oh, it's huge.
It's pretty crazy.
It's crazy.
But
Kevin's saying there's a lot of info online. Yeah. It's crazy. I just want to test the sand fleas. Just go to Paris Island. Hey, Brandon, those fleas are protected. Just ask any DI.
I wanted to tell you, I got an email from Mike Bucca.
Oh, yeah.
Last week. He wants to talk to us about doing a power tour next year. I don't know when the dates, locations, or what that.
It starts wherever it ended.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Wherever it ended is where it starts the next year.
That was St. Louis, I think.
I think it was. So that's where it would start.
Wonder if to go on east or west from there.
Yeah. That I couldn't tell you.
DEI is going to be a sponsor of the event. I'm going to set up a big tent.
They're going to sponsor it?
They're going to sponsor it.
Oh, so they'll have some, yeah.
He's got a couple ideas he wants to run through. He's got a couple other people alongside that he wants to, have at the tent, do big events, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I know that we talked about it last year or this year, and then things came up the way we were jammed. I was leaving to travel and back and forth a bunch of times right around that.
Yeah.
I forget what you were doing something at the same time. So it didn't work out. But I did explain to him some of the conflicts, such as your back. I guess it's August, because I think it was August of this year sometime that they had it, but maybe you'll be okay by then. But it's no guarantee. So even if you said yes, what are you going to do? But I just wanted to give you a heads up. He wants to talk further about that. They want to continue to sponsor the show, the podcast. I told him to come up with another blooper. He says he thinks he has another blooper instead of us running that same one, because I told him, I said, it's actually pretty funny.
There is another one. I think there's another one. Yeah.
So, but get ready for that. Then we got to figure out what we're going to run. What are we going to drive?
We can drive the dime.
The what?
My S10.
450,000 miles on it.
Exactly, man. By then it might have 500,000. The AC blows cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully next year things are different, instead of all this craziness of each state having their own, nonsense you got to follow. Because I know that when I was talking to people at Barrett Jackson, they said Pennsylvania's horrible for auctions. So, and Meekum actually said the same thing. They said your governor's keeping us from doing our show there. So you guys watching, we'll keep you in the loop as far as the power tour. Maybe we could all get together and, do the run, hang out.
The skinny guy says, take the S dime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brent's, I don't know if you know this, but Brent is the guy.
Yeah.
On Muscle Car.
Brent actually looked at a Lincoln for me.
Oh, did he? I didn't know.
Remember, it was like a cream colored Lincoln.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
He said it was shot. It was when I was looking for a Lincoln probably 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
did you see Dwayne Goodwin's bragging about that it's 86 degrees in Texas, in Brownsville? I need to find out where Laredo is. I need to look at a map.
I talked to Ray today, and Ray,
how's he doing?
He's home.
Good.
He was a little out of it because they got him on Oxy and a bunch of other things. But let me show you. Chin saying nobody contacted him. I don't understand that. Hold on.
I'm holding. I'm circling the runway. He said no one contacted him?
He didn't get the email from Ryan. It probably went to his spam box because he copied everybody on it. Let me pull you up a picture. I know I sent it to you, but you and I keep talking about Ray, and I know people are going, what? Who? What? What's the deal?
Yeah.
Ray is a 76-year-old Vietnam vet out of Texas. And he was putting up lights for some stupid reason on a ladder about 11 feet up and fell off the ladder. And that's a picture of him in the hospital.
Other way, Ken. Other way. There you go.
That's him, big fat belly, fell down, needed back surgery. That's the zipper they put on it between his shoulder blades. I forget how many.
He broke, 11 ribs?
11 ribs, punctured lung, needed emergency spinal surgery.
God.
76 years old.
I told him when I talked to him the other night, last week, I said, I don't even know why you were up on a ladder. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, but that's Ray. Ray is an independent, get out of the way. I can do it. He still thinks he's 50. I do that, stuff sometimes where I shouldn't be somewhere doing something. And I go, I was climbing a ladder, painting something in my garage last year. And I look down, I go, I'm an idiot for I'm up to like 2.5, 50 feet. And I'm like, what am I doing? And then when I start looking down, I get shaky. I'm like, I could, when I start to see myself, I could fall. Ain't nobody finding me for a little while. I could have been him, horse's ass, So, but, anyhow, he's home. He was in the hospital on a bed for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I told you, he says to me, 76 years old, he says to me, he goes, you won't believe this is what happened. He goes, I can't even bend over, can't do anything. I had these two nurses drag me into the shower. He says, and I told you this, he's leaning up against the shower. He says, and I'm in pain. And, I feel like an idiot. He's naked. And he says, I look down and I can't help but think, man, if this was 30 years ago, what I'd be doing right now.
He was having a Vietnam flashback with his little honeycomb.
Yeah, he says, he goes, ladies, I like it. A lot of suds, a lot of pressure, he tells them, I was like, you're a horse's ass. But he had me laughing so hard, because he still talks shit like he's a young dude. I'm like, you're an old guy. 2 popsicle sticks, 2 rubber bands. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he had me cracking up.
Even Buzz is confused. I don't understand why he was on a ladder. Nobody understands, Buzz. That's the problem.
He was hanging party lights up. He was stringing the lights. And he's in the hospital ready to get surgery. And he's calling me beforehand because he calls me and tells, I try not to bug him. He's calling me. And he says, you should have saw how nice the lights were looking too before I slipped and fell. He says, and I knew it was going to happen. He goes, the thing spun out from under me on one leg because it wasn't secure. He goes, but like Wile E. Coyote, I tried to grab the tree and started to fall down the tree. He says, because my arms were too short to get around the branch. And I knew once I let go, I was in trouble because he landed straight on his back. Yeah, I'm like, oh, dear Lord. But he had me laughing so hard. I'm like, you got to get your ass out of the hospital. You got to get home. He's got that Mustang H with the supercharger on it. Just came back from Shelby.
I told him I need to go. I'm going to come over. We're going to go get him. We're going to go get it. I told him he won't need it anymore. That's what I told him. I told him me and you were coming down, and he's not going to need anything. We're just going to take the stuff we know he doesn't need.
It's like 750 horsepower, that thing.
Yeah,
and he says it's they hooked him up. The thing's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but he's finally home after 6 weeks. He sounded a little out of it. He was slurring a little bit, and sometimes he wasn't even making any sense. I just let him go. He said, "You should see this," and I'm like, "I don't even know what you're talking about," But he's in good spirits, and thank God he's home because he actually said when he was laying there, "Is this how I'm going out? Is this it?" Because he got the wind knocked out of him. He couldn't breathe.
Right.
You know how that is. That happened to me once as a kid. And that's enough to scare you right there as you're trying to get air back into your lungs. And at 76 years old, there's 76. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a Vietnam vet. Good dude. Maybe when he gets back up and about, we'll have him on to talk about some of his stupid things he's doing.
No, we need to have him on now when he's incoherent.
Yeah.
So we get it on tape. That's what we need. We need to get him on tape saying it. This way we can blackmail him.
Chin says he's going to try to come on. There's a scheduling issue too. His assistant put in the wrong time, just like what Kevin was saying. She put him in for 7 their time, which is true, 7 to 8.
Right. Well, then, reschedule.
Or maybe I don't know what's going on, but Ken, keep an eye on it. He may be bouncing in the background right now. Maybe we get a quick version of what he's doing. It's a pretty cool story. I know we got you long.
Yeah.
And we've been tap dancing the whole entire time.
Kevin Kirk says, my dad's an 80-year-old Marine and he does crazy things. Yeah. Yeah.
For real.
I just saw that. And is he hitting on the nurses? That's what Kevin Warren says.
He was giving everybody a hard time at that place. He had me laughing, and they'd come in the room when he's talking. Hey, how old are you? How tall are you? Where do you live? I said, Ray, what are you doing? He's just, and he said, you should see this one. Oh, you should see this one, he says. He says, I got Halloween candy out. They all come through here. They love candy. He said, they all come. I'm like, you're a horse's ass.
They love candy.
You really are. You're really a horse's ass.
God.
Yeah. But I should tell you about Nashville. Nashville was pretty crazy.
I was going to ask. Yeah, how was it? Did you work out your front any?
I worked out my front. It was the wife's birthday. Didn't want to disappoint because you know what? When you drink a whiskey, you don't know what's going to happen. You have too much whiskey. It's 50% chance that you may need to be, doing this, trying to get that thing. right? Knocking the lid off, we going, come on, my man, don't let me down. It's the wife's birthday. Yeah. So I took half a pill just in case. Let me tell you, Lou, I got stretch marks in that thing right now. I had to Google how to get the stretch marks out. It's vitamin E oil. That's a whole nother problem. Yo, it was like 6 o'clock, straight up and down. I could have put a wet towel on that thing. I'm telling you. She's happy. She already booked Nashville for next year. I'll tell you, it ain't easy. I'll tell you. But yeah, we had a good time. We were liquored up. I hit up Stacy David, see if he wanted to come out. But I figured, what's the chances of Stacy coming out and shooting whiskey at the, the Wild Horse Saloon? That's where we hung out. You go to the Wild Horse Saloon, you got to check out the Bernard. He's the bartender. Short little old guy. Hooked me up like we were buddies from way back. Which, nice dude. But we had a blast. I only drank it one night. I couldn't take it. I'm getting old. Walked around shopping, bought some cowboy boots and that kind of crap.
Yeah.
So,
So let me answer Dwayne's question. What's going on in your shop right now? I understand the back, but what's going on there? Good whiskey is good for your soul, and you are 100%
it is.
correct.
It's aging me though.
I've got the shop is ready to rock and roll. I got all the lights changed out. I just, I haven't been able to do anything because of the back. I hurt my back going 4 or 5 months ago now. So I just haven't been able to get in there and do it because I just can't do it right now.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. But I got everything. I'm ready to go. Update. So the shows are a lot more spread. Oh, it's SEMA. So the show's a lot more spread out this year. There are empty booths. Coca Tire backed out, which I thought was surprising. That is surprising. I wouldn't have thought Coca Tires would have backed out. But the overseas travel time, Lowe's, South Hall, the East is empty. That makes sense. There's a lot of the new West Hall.
Yeah, the new one. That's where Barrett Jackson was. It's in the middle. It's pretty nice.
Oh, that okay. Yeah.
It's on the other side of the tram. Remember the tram up the top there? It's on the other side of that.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Ed's out there. Ed hooked up with Craig Jackson. He's showing me a bunch of pictures.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was with Ryan from West Coast Customs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said Ryan's around he's outside. They got a lot of his stuff outside.
I think they were looking for anybody they can to bring cars in. Because it was so thin. I heard there was only 1,300 vendors. That's what I heard, but I haven't gotten a confirmation on that. But the pictures I've seen, there's plenty.
It's scarce.
Yeah, there's plenty of room.
Barrett Jackson, Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Now Ed said he's trying to work a deal, going back and forth, to have Odell Beckham at that auction because Odell has a car or two that he's trying to move.
Right.
Ken, is Chin backstage? If he is, let him in. There he is. Chin.
Hey, how you doing?
What's happening, Chin? How you doing, man?
Good.
Chin, we've been tap dancing and telling jokes and talking crazy stuff until we tried to figure out what was happening with you. But since we're jammed on time, and I know you got a half hour, I was telling everybody that I saw your spot on Vice, which I think was about 2 years ago. It's about a 2-year-old spot, is it not? A&E.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess it's still playing. Did they tell you when it's running again so people could check it out?
I know the last one they did, they said it's going to run Friday because they did it twice. They got another one on A&E that they did 2 years ago, and then the other one was about a year ago that just came out a couple of days ago.
Yeah, that's probably the one that I saw. Jen, you want to run through, and I don't mean run through it, but explain your life. Talk about when you were in college and you became a barber. And it was your buddy that introduced you to being a barber because he was making pretty good money. What were you doing at the time before you were a barber? What was that job? Because I can't remember.
I was working at a pizza place, and then I worked at a grocery store.
Yeah, that's my dog.
That's John's dog. Probably Scooch. So you went from, you were doing that, and then you became a barber. How did you become a barber? What got you into that?
Because in high school, we worked at fast foods. Minimum wage was $3.35 an hour back then.
Right.
And so our checks was about $60 a week. So my best friend was a year older. And when he graduated, he went to barber school and started working in his dad's barber shop.
Oh.
So, yeah, he was making about $100 a day. So that encouraged me to go to barber school after high school.
Got you.
So, Chen, talk about how you met Rico being a barber.
Okay, so I was in college at Tennessee State University, and his girlfriend was in one of my classes, and we were friends. And so he would come, flying from Miami, Florida to, be with her. And he used to want to get his hair cut. And so she told me, to cut his hair. So I would always cut his hair. So we just became friends. And after a while, that's when he asked me about cocaine, because I never knew what he did. I thought he was a businessman because, that's what he looked like. And that's how he carried himself.
Well, he was a businessman. It was just a different business.
Right.
Think about it. Those guys, they're businessmen. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. You know what? Here's my thing, John. I really think we need to have Chin come back, because we're not going to have enough time to go through this story in what little time we have.
No, we don't. But there's some key spots to tee it up. So if somebody wants to watch their show, he can promote that and promote his books before he rolls. But I thought it was interesting when you talk about Rico coming in from Miami. On the show that I saw, he asked you what they get for a key in the area, and you said, I don't know, but some of those guys, I believe, came through your shop, or you knew somebody that knew them. And the hop, skip, jump was that you made quick money real fast just being a broker and not touching anything. Does that pretty much sum that up?
Right. Yeah, because he gave me 2 keys at first, $17,000 each. So that was like, $34,000. But they were going for 28. So, that was $56,000. So, 56 minus the 34, that was quick lit.
That's
Jen, what year was that?
There was 1990, early 90s, like 91, 92, something like that.
Yeah, that's a pretty long time ago.
Yeah.
So realistically, then you get caught up. Then he wanted to push more product your way from the show that I saw, and you started fronting people product. Explain how that became an issue.
Well, he had more cocaine than the city could handle. It wasn't enough money here. So he just started flooding me with cocaine, and I had it stashed in apartments. And he said, well, you got to start getting rid of this. He said, well, just front it. And I said, all right. So I started fronting it, the guys on consignment, and a lot of them weren't paying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that becomes a big problem for you.
Yeah, it became a big problem.
How much in the hole were you? What did you end up owing him?
I was 600,000 in the hole.
600,000.
Damn,
back in the 90s. So that's like $1.3 million at this point.
Yeah.
That's a lot of product.
Right.
So you then figure, I got to ramp it up. You got to do, you explain what your next steps were there.
Well, he gave me an ultimatum. He flew up saying, what's the problem? Because I didn't have the money. And I said, well, they're not paying. And he said, who's not paying? I said, all the guys, in the city, they're not paying me. And I'm calling them from payphones, because back then we had beepers, and then payphones. So they would answer, when I called from a payphone, but a beep when I called from my cell phone, they weren't answering. So I was going to the clubs, and, they was talking crazy, because these was street dudes. Thugs, dudes with braids, tattoos, gold teeth. So they weren't paying, and some of them was cussing me out. I'm not paying you nothing, MF and all that. I said, okay, so Nico, said, he gave me an ultimatum. He said, well, I know where your mama lives. You're going to have to tell me who these guys are. And then if you don't tell me, I know where your parents live. So you got an ultimatum. You can tell me who these people are because they owe me. They owe you, but you owe me. So they owe me. And he said, I'll do what I got to do with them. And then I'm going to send you some more loads of cocaine and you're going to work this $600,000 debt off. And that's how it's going to be. So he says, what is it? I said, okay. I said, well, let me try to contact these dudes again. And same thing happened. So I was frustrated. You know, if you give somebody something and they don't pay you, that frustrates you. You know, we talking about 100,000 here, 200,000 here, 50,000 here. So, and you're going to cuss me out and tell me you're not going to pay me. So when you're in the streets and you don't pay, you know,
live by the streets. Yeah.
You got to do some things where you never have to look over your back. You don't injure a snake.
Right.
If you don't know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cut its head off.
Yeah. You got to basically do that. So they did what they had to do. Y'all can read between the lines. And then after that, I had to work that debt off. So it took me probably no longer than 2 months or whatever, a month, 2 months, work that debt off. I'm broke. I done paid this $600,000 debt and I'm broke now. No money.
Damn.
So I'm deciding, am I going to go just leave it alone? And so I said, yeah, I'm just going to leave it alone. And the guys kept pressuring me. You know, some of the guys pay, you know, they had their money up front. So what I did, I said, well, it's over. And so they started bringing me duffel bags full of money. Here's my money. Make the phone call.
Oh,
So
God.
now I got all this money. You know, I'm looking at it. Hell, I make the phone call. So now, you know, I'm using their money to get it and then get my money off the top. So I built back up and I said, okay, I want to make $1 million cash and then I'm going to quit, you know. So I'm building, stacking. And now I wouldn't get no more stuff cocaine fronted because I didn't want to be in that predicament because I couldn't sleep and I started having nightmares and it just, I didn't sign up to do that. I thought we're going to do business right and nobody, you know, nothing happens. But when that, I'm thinking, oh, shucks, you know.
Stress.
So, you know, now I just went harder than the last time, but I was buying everything up front. And he kept trying to load me up. I said, nope, I'm buying this. This is what it is. They're not going to pay, you know. So that's how we worked it. And that's how basically, you know, that last load, you know, because I was strapping hundreds and thousands of dollars to women in college. You know, I go over their house, do what their apartment, do what we do while they butt naked, strap a few $100,000, take them to the airport. Because that was before 9/11. You know, you used to could go to the airport as long as you ain't had nothing metal, a jury.
Right.
You just walk through. So I'd always walk behind them and they'd go through. So that's how I could get a lot more money down there because only a certain amount would go up under the car in those compartments. So that's how we was running it back then.
Jen, I thought the story when you were in it was a chemistry class and the Bunsen burner part of it, I was and you ran through with the metric system and they couldn't believe that you knew so much so fast. And he scored 100, passed everything because of his street knowledge. I thought that was a pretty funny story, the way that it was told on the special, you know. But the thing is, what happened is you were putting some of the stuff in your sister's place. So she got tied into this whole thing. Of course, the day comes crashing down where you're in trouble with the law. Short story long, you know, like anybody would, you try to get your sister out of the jam and say, listen, I'll take the hit, just let her up or whatever you got to do. And you sign an agreement, not knowing what you're signing, correct?
Correct. The deal was you sign these papers, we're going to be lenient on your sister. We're not going to tell you what we're going to do, but we're going to be lenient. But it was a guy that was going to testify against me that really could have put me under. It was just, I didn't look like a drug dealer. And I lived at home with my parents. And the guys that worked for me, they looked like drug dealers.
Yeah.
I mean, they looked larger than life. So them trying to pin it on me, it was kind of difficult because the courtroom, everybody in the courtroom looked like you, the stenographer, the judge, everybody. But these guys that work for me who got caught with everything, they being disrespectful. Yeah, now talking to a judge, you know, these people, and I'm saying these people, they're gonna hang y'all. And so I had a suit on. So they trying to, you know, distinguish. He's not moving all this cocaine. He's in college taking 18 hours a semester. He's on the dean's list. He lives at home with his mama. He's never been in trouble. He cannot be running this much cocaine. It doesn't fit the profile. So it was one guy that could have got me, and he got caught with another load of cocaine because I quit after the bust. You know, I wasn't doing nothing. And so when he got busted again, when we was out on bond, they took the heat off of me because a lot of people thought that I was a snitch, you know, but the guys in the streets, they knew I wasn't because none of them got in trouble. So but people looking at my case from the outside looking in, how did he get out of that? So they just didn't understand that, you know, the federal prosecutor and the judge, they have all the power. You know, the federal prosecutor can charge you with whatever. So he's thinking this kid is, you know, I'm not going to give him, slam the book at him. But I was thinking, you know, give me 10 years. I don't want to do the 30 years, although I should have got the 30 years. Yeah, I mean, based on everything that happened and things that I would never reveal, yeah, I should have got the 30 years to life. But everything that I've done, I've never done anything to somebody that did not deserve it. You know, when you're in the street, sometimes you got to protect yourself.
So Chin, you're from the show. I guess it's your stepdad, even though you called him your dad. Your stepdad's a preacher and was talking to the judge. Is that your stepdad there?
No, that's Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Okay. Yeah, we were trying to go through some of the pictures you sent over, and I was trying to figure out who was who because it's tough. But anyhow, your dad, your stepdad talks to the judge and tells him, "This is not the boy that I raised. Be lenient," and pushes. And you could see some kind of change in the judge, but you're still not sure. The judge at that point turns and starts to give you a hard time to where you don't know whether you're going to jail for 30 or you're going home. Kind of I can't even imagine sitting there not knowing the future. That your stomach must have been killing you. Yeah. So he turns, long story short, he puts you into the boot camp. Boot camp seemed to me to be the changing point in your life where at that moment you could have been locked up for 30 years or boot camp, which changed your life. It seemed like for the better. And I appreciated the story because it seemed like, you know what, you seemed rehabilitated. You made a difference, saw the light, and it was enough to know in your situation, I shouldn't have been in this place at this time. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is that not what happened?
Yeah, that's right.
So you go to boot camp, and they didn't go into the great detail, but the picture that I saw, it was like you were a minority there, and the other guys there were white guys, white collar crime guys, and you were basically saying it was like going to Harvard or some business school because they were all businessmen, right?
Correct.
So you got a background as to LLCs, how to incorporate offshore accounts. So you actually were hanging out with guys that were upper echelon, even though they were crooked or did something wrong. They were still educated men, right?
Yeah.
So you do that for 6 months. Explain to everybody from that point getting out how you changed things and made it for the better, because that's the key, the turning point there, because it could have went either way. I don't know if you watched the other A&E, the other shows on Vice. The one that they played after you was a white guy, wasn't so lucky. That guy went to jail for 12 years, and his life was hell. He was beating people up in prison. It seemed like he was fight or die. But it seemed like at that point for you, because it could have went both ways, for you to change and become a business guy and take some of the things that you learned for the better. Explain at that point how things changed for you.
Okay, well, at that federal boot camp, if I hadn't gone there, I wouldn't have been exposed. I wouldn't have been able to talk to those Caucasian guys.
Right.
I wouldn't even never be able to meet people on that level. You know, these are people I would think of like Tony Robbins type of people. These were guys on Wall Street. So I learned a lot, about Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, Zig Zig, all those people, Jim Rohn that ordinarily I would have probably had never known about, or would have known probably 20 or 30 years later. So by talking to those guys, and then they start sharing stuff with me, how to do affirmations. I mean, some of these guys had went to How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was that book. I forgot who wrote. Yeah, Carnegie. Well, some of them had been to Carnegie Hall or whatever. Some of these masterminds where you pay $100,000 and all that. So they were sharing all this stuff with me. So when I came home, I had already wrote down in there what I was going to do. You know, I'm enjoying making $1 million. I'm enjoying opening a school. I'm enjoying having a mansion. I'm enjoying retiring my mom. I wrote my goals down the way they told me, and they taught me business by the Bible. See, I grew up in the black church. Most people in the black church are broke, but these guys taught me business by the Bible from a whole different perspective. So when I came home, my family, everybody thought I was crazy. They thought I'd been institutionalized because I'm speaking and acting as in the supernatural, the spiritual, not, you know, I'm broke, no job, no driver's license, bad credit, black man. I mean, all the cards stacked against me. But I had $1 million mindset from being around these guys. So it was a blessing that I went there, because I went to college. You know, I graduated from college, but they didn't teach us none of this type of stuff. You know, I learned about stock, calls, puts, I mean, shorts, all of that stuff. And so when I came home, I didn't have no money, but I had $1 million mindset. So I was able to climb the ladder quickly. You know, I did sacrifice, you know, shopped at Goodwill, Walmart, cut everybody off. You know, I had to do what I had to do, you know, feed my spirit every day with positive stuff, no negativity, none of the women, you know, I don't drink, smoke. I've never smoked marijuana, never did drugs, probably drank a sip of alcohol, sold a ton of cocaine probably, but I didn't do any of that stuff. So I was different, but I couldn't get a job when I came home. You know, nobody would hire me. You know, I went everywhere, but I started back cutting hair. I never wanted to be no barber. You know, I wouldn't say that was beneath me, but my parents brought me up. You have to go to college and you have to do this. But I knew owning the school, that would give me the opportunity to make a whole lot of money, you know, in this profession. So I just looked at, okay, in the beauty profession, who makes the most money? Who's the richest person? Okay. Well, school owners, Paul Mitchell, Aveda, all of them. Miss Velma, you know, the older white lady who became like a mother figure to me. And I equate that with meeting Carlos Francisco Mendita, you know, the plug. Miss Velma was the plug, that lady right there. And she was the one that taught me about the school, about how to get accredited, how to get the government money. And she didn't have to do that. But I was honest with her. The first time I met her, you know, I showed her my mugshot, the newspaper clippings, and told her everything about my past. And when I left her office, all the girls in her school told her, don't fool with that guy, he's this or that. But I was already honest with her. And she said, well, I don't know if I should deal with you. And she said, but you know what? I'm going to go home and pray on it. And so she went home and prayed, and she said, she came back the next day and called me and said, come to my office. She said, God told me I got to help you. I don't know why I'm doing this, put my name on the line and fooling with this black dude, just former cocaine dealer. I don't know if you still do this, but God told me I got to help you. And so it was almost like she was upset and all of that, but she said, God told me I got to help you, so I got to help you. And from there, we established this relationship, and I became like her black son. And even she taught me a lot of stuff. And she learned a lot of stuff from me because she didn't know what it was like being black. Even when we would go places, certain things she could do, I couldn't do. And she would get frustrated and say, well, Chin, you need to do this. I said, Ms. Velma, I can't do that. You know, and so she finally understood that certain things I could not do, that she could do. And certain things she did for me to help me being the front person. So God put some good people in my life. So I can't, you know, sit here and talk to y'all and say, oh, I did this. No, Miss Velma helped me a lot. You know, she was in my life to, you know, so
she mentored you.
Yeah.
I thought that same thing when our guest bailed out, and I reached out to you the other day. I said, you know what? And you turned around within like 10 minutes, said, yeah, I'll do it. I thought, this story needs to be out there. It needs to be told because and I apologize for abbreviating this thing and not spending the time. And I know you're jammed. You got another podcast you're going to do in a few minutes here. But I think it's incredible because when you were talking about being poor, when you looked at your mom being a school teacher and dad being a preacher, even though they had, decent positions in life, it wasn't like they were making $1 million. You had powdered milk, powdered eggs. And I looked at when you were saying that, same thing when I was a kid. The same exact thing. I ate the cereal out of a bag. It wasn't in a box.
Mhm.
There wasn't any sugar on it. You know what I'm saying? It was the oats that looked like Cheerios, but weren't really Cheerios. So when I watched the show, I'm like, I could relate to what he was saying because I was there too. And when you saw him at the fork in the road going, I'm going to try to do this or I'm going to do this, knowing this ain't the right thing to do. But most people probably would have did what you did when somebody says, listen, $56,000, you're making 100 hours a day. That's a year's worth of money that you could do in a week or two. But there was a couple times where there was forks in the road and things worked out, sometimes not for the better, sometimes for the better. But also the fact that you wrote 2 books, you're helping people out doing the same thing, paying it forward for people. The thing that I wanted to say too that we're skipping over is you had the biggest Black-owned school in Tennessee and then later in the country, right?
Yeah, at first I had the smallest barber school in the country. And then as years progressed, I had the largest barber school out of all, not beauty school, but the largest barber school. I had over 200 and something students at one location.
Wow.
And tuition was like $20,000 a student. So the government was paying me. I mean, even when I was on federal parole, I got accredited and the government was paying me federal funds to train the students. So, I'd go to the prisons, men and women prisons. And then I had halfway houses because a lot of them didn't have anywhere to stay.
Yeah.
So they would stay there. So it helped a lot of people, but God blessed me so I could be a blessing to others. Ms. Velma always said, pay it forward.
Talk about you wrote 2 books from under. Is there a third or is there just the 2? Not that it's just the
2. Because I was at Ebony magazine 21 years ago in the year 2000, which is the largest Black magazine.
Yeah.
And so they had an article with my mugshot and all that. And they sent letters to Ebony and they sent them to my house. Probably about, 4,000 or 5,000 letters asking, well, how did he get, when he got out of prison, how did he turn his life around? And all that? Because most people have somebody in prison, but when they get out, they do stupid stuff again.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm not going to respond to this stuff because they're asking all these questions. And so the next week, the Potter's House called Bishop T.D. Jakes. And so they wanted to fly me to Manpower to speak to 20,000 men. So he's like the biggest, he's like the Black Joel Osteen or the Black Billy Graham. And I said, well, I can't go. I'm on federal parole. He said, well, ask your probation officer. I said, all right. So I asked, they said, yeah. So I was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, back in 2000. So my friend put a fake book cover on the front of it, Scotch taped it, and he had made some postcards, and we sent about 4,000 or 5,000 postcards out to those people who had wrote from Ebony, and it had the mug shot and the Ebony article, and it had a little fake book saying send $15 and $3.50 shipping and handling. This is in 2000. Well, 3,000 something people responded with checks and money orders. Some put cash, so I had that money, and that was like 40-something thousand. Then I go down there and speak. And I hold up the book when I'm on stage with Bishop Jakes in front of 20,000 men, and it's zoomed in. So I pre-sold over $100,000 worth of books there, not knowing what I was doing.
Yeah.
Because preachers there had money, but
right.
They didn't have nothing. So they buying 300 and 400 books for their prison ministry. So I go back to Nashville, Tennessee 2 days later. I ain't got no book, and I don't want to write no book, So I locked myself in the room. A month went by, and then I locked myself in the room, and I knew how to type because I took typing in high school because all the pretty women was there. And I finished that book in a week, got it printed. It was $3 a copy. I think I got 5,000 on the first run, and another 5,000. And I watched the dude. He had a book, and he had an 800 number. He said he did speaking engagements. So he dedicated his book to his mom. I dedicated mine. He talked about how he ran a heroin operation. I talked about my cocaine operation, where I've been, what I've accomplished, how I did it. And it became probably one of the top selling books in the prisons back then. I mean, the people still buy it. And so it took a week to write that. That's the second book. That's the first one. That's it right there. And so that book has helped a lot of people because I told the story, but I put the hook in it, your bait and switch, because I talked about God.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm a believer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chin, talk about two things before we let you jump. Talk about the people that you helped out and talk about where you are in life now. What's life like for you every day after being in prison for through what you've been through?
Oh, well, I mean, of course I helped my family, you know, broke the generational curse of poverty. That's my mom there. You know, as a kid, she'd take us to those big houses, pay $5. So I bought her 10,000 square foot home. That's Young Buck's old house. You know, he was in Nashville, the rapper. So I bought that for her. I mean, I graduated thousands of students, a lot of them from prison. I've helped a lot of beauty professionals open schools still to this day. They're opening schools so they can, you know, break the generational curse and change their community. I mean, helped a lot of dudes in prison. I still help them, you know, by giving money and buying them things or whatever. Provide a lot of housing. Now, you know, since this internet is out, I'm just, you know, using social media to change people's lives and help them.
That's awesome.
So that's,
where do people find you?
Millionaire Barber. Millionaire Barber on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or millionairebarber.com. So if they type Millionaire Barber, it's coming up on all social media links.
What's the plan going forward?
I'm just gonna continue to take care of my mom till she transitions to be with the Lord. She's 77, but she's still in great health. And then I'm just going to continue to help these barbers and stylists. I'm helping them move from behind the chair because they're not going to make $1 million behind the chair. They're not going to be financially free. They're not going to have time freedom working behind the chair. So if they want to transition and open a school, become accredited, get government money so they can have time freedom and financial freedom and impact their community, that's what I'm doing.
Do you think your platform and your technique can be applied to other areas of business, not just being a barber?
Yeah, because I mean, I do ClickFunnels, the automated emails, automated text messaging, the challenges, the same thing that they do, the coaches, the consultants, and everything. It's the same formula because I built those platforms for other people. I mean, those platforms, people charge $50,000. Steve Larson charged $100,000 to build those, and I build those for the beauty professionals and other entities. Because if you don't have that automated machine, I mean, you operate at the lowest level of wealth, exchanging time for money, you know, muscle. When if you got this machine, it just allows you to make money faster without exchanging time for money, using your mouth or using your message or using, you know, your mind and automation. So, yeah.
It's a blueprint. You got you worked all the kinks out of the blueprint.
Yeah, I mean, I have. It's everything is broken down step by step.
Yeah.
And I used to help people open schools for free. But now I have so many testimonials. I mean, people pay me. I mean, I'm not ashamed to tell you, $55,000, some are $30,000, the programs. But I probably got more beauty professional billionaires than anybody has created.
Oh, I'm sure of it. Because what you've done is proven now. The way you've done it, because you worked all the kinks out, it's proven. It's the only way it's not going to work is if someone doesn't follow the plan. When you think about it,
we got to stay positive. I think it's really with the attitude too, because you could get beat down and give up. It doesn't sound like Chin gives up. When he come out of there, it was like a burst of energy. It's actually a blessing. And the fact that he's paying it forward, like I said, is something. Taking his time here,
it's awesome.
With a jammed up schedule on the last minute, I appreciate it. And if you get time for people to watching this, check it out on Vice. Now you were saying it was on A&E. I don't know if Vice and A&E are associated. But go ahead.
Yeah, they two different because A&E came to my house, I think like 2 years ago and filmed. I didn't know which one, but I know the Vice just came out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I saw it the other day on Vice. I was flicking through the channels in the middle of the night, and they were running a couple of them back to back. And yours ran, I think, like 3 times. But I couldn't sleep, and I watched it twice actually. But it's really a cool story. And follow him, tag up. Maybe some of that positive energy will rub off on other people. But anything else that you want to throw out there to anybody watching before you jump?
No, I mean, just connect with the right people. Join some masterminds.
That is a pretty cool story. It's a pretty cool story that the fact that that going to boot camp, what you made it sound in here that it's like I'm hanging out with millionaires and we're drinking coffee. They had you busting hump for 17 hours a day doing your thing. You really were working.
Yeah.
They were really rehabilitating those guys.
Yeah,
making them pay for it, which I think should be more often than not.
Yeah, it should be.
But anyhow, Chen, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you taking the time.
Really
I know we were scrambled. The email must have went to your junk box because there's like 5 of us on there. That's probably what happened. I probably should have followed up with you and hit you up and made sure you got it. But either way, I appreciate you coming on. And it's a very cool story. Check them out.
All right. Well, thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Lou.
Chen. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.